is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Entertainment Elite Show on YouTube. Today we're going to be reviewing the new film Mom and Dad. Now, this film got a very limited release. It was actually only in one theater near me, and even that was an hour away. So I would have included this in this week's Opening This Week segment, but for most people it's not opening this week. You can find it online. I rented it from Fandango now, so if you do have an interest in seeing it, it is out, but not in a theater. So this film is directed and written by Brian Taylor. It stars Nicolas Cage, Selma Blair, and the kids were the remaining humans. And so right there you have a story that I've never heard before, so you'll find a lot of originality here. And also what's unique about this film is that Nicolas Cage was the perfect casting choice. I mean, if you're going to watch his greatest hits, a list of films that he is great in, this would be on there. Because he usually overacts and brings this kind of manic, volatile presence to the character. You cannot overact in this film since it's about parents going crazy whenever they see their kids. This is definitely a thriller, first and foremost. There are some comedic elements, but I would hesitate to call it a comedy. But I wouldn't go so far as to call it a horror movie. The performance in this film, all around, fantastic. Nicolas Cage and Selma Blair nail the role perfectly. And even when they aren't acting crazy and trying to kill their kids, because this only happens when you see your kids, and when you're not with your kids, you just look at everybody else like they're crazy. So even when they're not in this crazy state, they both do a great job. And even Nicolas Cage kind of tones himself down, but his character is going through a midlife crisis, so he is still Nicolas Cage, and it fits with the character very well. Now, Brian Taylor, the writer and director, he is usually part of a writing and directing duo alongside co-worker Mark Neveldine, if I'm saying that correctly. They together have made films such as Crank, Crank 2, Gamer, Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, and together they wrote Jonah Hex. I hate all of those movies. I can't sugarcoat it. Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance, I declared as my least favorite film of all time last time I watched it back in 2013. Summer 2013. And going into this film, I was a little bit skeptical. I don't like any of their movies. And then here comes along Mom and Dad. And Mom and Dad is a lot of fun. If you've seen any of Brian Taylor's other films, they're very, very chaotic. And this film still maintains a level of that chaos, but it fits in the story and it works in the film. Not that it doesn't for all the other films, but it just took me out of those films. The editing, the shots, very wild all over the place. And it works here. And it's actually fun here because this film almost seems to be kind of spoofing the other movies almost that he's done. And it works. The only thing, there are a couple things I didn't like about the movie. The first one is it seems kind of like a music video. I mean, if I were to go back and count, I would say that this film samples at least 15 songs, and they only use them for like 30 seconds tops, but they're peppered throughout the entire film. Just random songs that do really fit the vibe, the tone of that scene, or completely clashes against it so that it's more noticeable. You know, the whole affinity and contrast thing that movies do. And even though it kind of took me out of the movie at those times, I always kind of appreciated the fact that it did these, because it kind of added to the chaotic nature of the film, even though it was a little weird to sit through. And the last thing I did not like was the ending, but if you want to know my thoughts on the ending, I will talk about it after the video as like a post-credit scene, because I don't want to give away the ending. I won't even say anything about it. So, okay, if you want to see my thoughts on the ending, minor spoilers, kind of, it'll be after the end credits of this video. So, here are what other people are saying about it. As you can see, the audience doesn't seem to like it that much. Critics appreciate it, and I also appreciate it. It's not something for everybody. I would say on my own recommendation scale, I would recommend this to about maybe 70% of people, possibly 80, possibly 60, but are in that range. I say most people should like this movie, even though, according to the audience, most people won't enjoy the movie. But I do think it's one that you should watch because you get to see Nicolas Cage at his best, and it is a career-saving film for Brian Taylor as far as I'm concerned. And it's just something so original that you will not find in another movie this year or any other based on what I've seen in movies. This is really original, and although it's strange, hard to watch at times. I mean, this film can get gory. It is still fun to watch, and it is a breath of fresh air. But I do think that you could get a kick out of this film. Don't go in expecting something deep and emotional like a Schindler's List, a Gandhi, or anything like that. This is just one film that you can guilt-free watch, eat popcorn, and just have a good time. And so, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. The ending. There's not much of an ending. It just kind of stops. The reason I don't like it is because it builds up the question, why is this happening? What's going on? Why are the parents doing this? And then it just ends. We don't get an answer. And I'm going to go into discussing the last line of the film and what it means. So if you don't want to know that, just head out and come back tomorrow for another video. But for those who either don't care or want to know or have already seen it, then I'm going to go over what I think about the ending. So Nicolas Cage's last line in the film, when asked, why are you doing this? He says, kids, I love you, but sometimes we just want to kill you. And he says it in a very Nicolas Cage way. I'm sure you can imagine him doing that. And I guess that kind of sums up the movie as a whole and kind of adds a little bit of a metaphorical flavor to it. Because throughout the film, I was wondering if there's some kind of virus or if there's some kind of reverse natural instinct going on, or what exactly is happening, looking for a definite answer. And the answer that the film provides based on the last line is that this is kind of just a fun, silly, symbolic look at the relationship that parents have with kids. And there's this one scene in the middle of the film where Nicolas Cage just breaks down and loses it. And you think, oh, great, Nicolas Cage is being Nicolas Cage. But then he stops, and then he describes to his wife why he's going through this midlife crisis. That they used to be these really fun, loving teenagers with so much pride in life and so much to look forward to, and then they had kids and all that stopped. And so because of their childbirth, it kind of bookended the fun part of their life. And because of the last scene, reflecting on the entire movie, you're kind of able to see that, hey, it's just kind of fun and metaphorical and there is no ending. And I really would have liked to see kind of an explanation. And the fact that we didn't get that was initially disappointing, but now as I kind of discuss what I think about the whole film, I'm kind of liking it more now. The entire film and the ending. And so, well, those are my thoughts, my 2 cents. Let me know down in the comments what you thought about the ending. If you've seen the movie. If you haven't, now you know the ending, so you can watch it with kind of a unique perspective that most people on their first viewing don't get, and you can see that reflected in the audience score. But yeah, thanks for sticking around, and I'll see you next time.